Welcome to another episode of The Second Coming. Happy 2025. We are here for you. Brother T, how's it going?
It's going very well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm your host, Jason Keaton, and this year is going to be amazing. Brother T, I'm excited for the new year. What are some of your hopes and wishes for this year coming up?
Well, you know, there's this thing called the Second Coming. So that's kind of important, right? I know that it's a process and it's going to take, maybe a couple hundred years, we'll see. But there are some significant, not apocalyptic, but significant fundamental changes coming in this year based on what Spirit's telling us. And I'm just kind of strapped in to see, where this journey is going to take us. I don't have I have a very short map, right? I call it a current map. So, I know that I'm on a need-to-know basis, and whatever I need to know is usually like what's going on today, right? And today is a fantastic day. It's a marvelous day. And at least from where I'm sitting today, in the comfort of my home, of course, and being back here in the new year with you for another full year this year. This is episode, I think we're around 38 episodes that we finished up last year with, our 37. And that's pretty exciting to me. So this year we'll have a full year of the Second Coming. No one left to crucify. And I'm really excited about, how this will play out in this new year. And there may be some things going on in the outer world that will be topics of discussion, because there's going to be a possibility of a little hand wringing going on, a little teeth gnashing, possibly in some places, because some of the structures that we have relied on and that we have created to make our egoic selves feel comfortable are already in the process of beginning to crumble a little bit. So with that said, the new can only come at the cost of the old, but my wishes for this new year is for more of us people, humans, to awaken to the truth of who we are. And I'm glad to be in the flow with it and be on the Jesus team this year, all right? To kind of bring the truth that's really true to a lot of people who are still dismayed or discouraged with traditional ideas about their relationship with God and their, what Jesus' plan was and what his tract is for now and what the second coming really means. So, wow, that's a lot, I guess, right off the top of my mind. Great question.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, and I have to have so much gratitude in my heart for the time that I've got to spend with you over 2024. And I look forward to this adventure of 2025. And one thing that you've taught me and what I've learned from my readings is to be at peace with the soul, to realize that I'm spirit, and to try and master the ego, recognize it, and really be at peace with surrendering and letting God flow through. And you mentioned the word flow, and I've noticed, I've distinctly made a note of my habit patterns, and when I tend to flow, when I quit trying to manipulate with my ego and quit trying to force something and just flow with the path of least resistance, it seems like my life turns out quite beautifully and many times unexpected. I was wondering, for our viewers out there, maybe we could ask that question today is, what is that flow? There's something to it. It doesn't just happen magically. What's this flow that I'm surrendering to?
That's a great question. Great way to start out the new year. So if we were going to allow ourselves to be in the flow for 2025, what would that look like? So let's bring in a little guidance. Let's take a good deep breath. And let's turn within for just a moment. And we will allow ourselves to be blessed with the gathering here with us in this space, in this time, in this now. And we welcome in a chorus of angels and loved ones and masters and guides and teachers. We say welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us in this conversation today. We are truly blessed by the presence of love as it gathers around us right now, in this very now. We know who we are, we know what we are, and we know how we serve. It will be so. And so it is. So how can we be in the flow in 2025? Well, there are some amazing, hard to deal with, if I put it lightly, really, principles and practices in a spiritual pathway. And it's really easy for our conditioned mind to want to take control of that and bring in all of its ideas and beliefs and conditioning into the process of advancing spiritually. And how does that look? And then how do we manifest more? That's always a big topic in some spiritual communities, about manifesting and things like that. But the flow is how you go, right? Because if you allow yourself to be in the flow, and this is an important word, and there are a lot of teachers, personal development teachers and spiritual teachers and ministers on many platforms in our world today that are using that term, being in the flow. So being in the flow means to me, I'll just share with you what I have come to understand, is not being in resistance to what is. There were several years ago, I had a close friend, and he and I were good, and we were building companies together. We were building businesses together. And he had a great attitude. I thought, oh man, he's got a great attitude, because when things hit the fan, when things would just, you get sidewinded or what do they call it? Sideswiped or whatever, T-boned by the unexpected events, the egoic mind immediately goes into reaction, right? But he had matured enough to accept whatever happened in the moment, and he would look at me and go, well, it is what it is. And what does that represent? That no resistance. Yeah, we might feel it, and our mind might be, our thinking mind might be working through some solutions or some repair or something. What are we going to do, kind of thing. And more of that, as I already mentioned in the episode today, there's going to be some more calamity going on. So to be in the flow is to not be in resistance to what is. Because the truth is that God has got this. So if you look around your space today and the world of form right now, just glance around the room. Everything that's in your room is in resonance with you, or it wouldn't be there. And you'll look around your room and see little things, this and that and the other, and the history where it came into your life, and maybe you're ready to let go of some things as well, right? But everything that's in your experience is in resonance with you, and the people that are in your experience are in resonance with you, because we are creative. We are this very powerful magnets. Our consciousness, if you will, our thoughts, our pervasive thoughts, our self-talk and those kinds of things are holding a consciousness, or they're holding a vibration. And things are attracted to us that are in resonance with our thinking, with our consciousness, and with our vibration. So a lot of people might be looking around their space and go, I really want things to be different. Yes, everybody wants things to be better. just don't change anything, right? We don't like change. The ego doesn't like change. Neither does my cat. But the truth is, for things to be better, things have to change. And that's the way it happens. The new can only come at the cost of the old. Now, this is a spiritual truth, right? And we're getting this a lot from the transmissions that are coming from beyond the veil through very prominent and respected channels this day and age. And it's like, yeah, but you're going to be okay. So if you're keeping the main thing, the way I like to say it, Jason, is if you're keeping the main thing, that means that you are, all is well with your soul. I got a t-shirt on that says, all is well with my soul, right? What does that mean? It is what it is. I will allow, I will accept, right? Whatever's happening today, right now, today, I will accept it fully. And I can turn within and just be able to see it now as divinity in its own miraculous movement, transitioning us from lower levels of consciousness to higher levels of consciousness so that more of God can be expressed here in the world of form. Now, that's a very lofty goal, and why would you expect anything less from God, right? It is a very lofty goal because there seems to be so much tumult and chaos and, well, things to get distracted about. Oh my, it looks like hell. And you know what? It can be hellish if we want to exist in those consciousness levels. But the truth is, we don't have to do that. That's just a choice. And when other people are watching you throughout your day, and you'll take the time to look in their eyes, to notice that they're alive, to say hello, to say how are you, to say thank you, even that simple expression, thank you. So if you're out right now returning all those Christmas presents that you really didn't want, don't forget to say thank you to the clerk. Don't forget to say thank you to the person that's bagging your groceries. Don't forget to say thank you for the person that's at the window when you drive through the fast food store to, car lane, right? I make it a habit when I go through a car lane and when they check me out, and if I get fortunate enough, I can do it with two people. Somebody is taking my money and somebody else is giving me my food, right? Each time I look them right in the eye and I say, thank you for being here. It's really sweet of you to thank you for being here. They are in service to all of us, right? So if we start to see the small blessings, we're in the flow. If we start to see the big blessings, we're in the flow. If we're willing to accept whatever's going on, even if it looks chaotic, or if it looks destructive, and if it looks fearful, and if it looks dangerous, and we can accept it and know that God has got this, we're in the flow. So for 2025, let's get in the flow. Let's be allowing and accepting. And we can start with today, with whatever's going on in the world today. Allowing and accepting. If the stock market's crashing, accept it. It is what it is. If the stock market is exploding and it's getting higher and people are getting rich, accept it. It is what it is. No matter what's going on, I'm just using the stock market as an example, right? If your car breaks down and you only got one car left in the house and 5 people are trying to use it, welcome to how I grew up. We had 10 kids and one car, right? So it is okay. This too shall pass. And we are moving ever closer to higher expression of consciousness and love on our dear planet Earth.
I love that, Brother T. And I think you brought up some really important points. Is part of being in the flow is almost like you said, having the channel open, and your vibration opens that channel that makes everything flow easy. So just recapping what you mentioned, I love that. You hold this vibration, this Christ consciousness, you show gratitude, and you are of service to God, to your soul, and then you surrender to this flow, and the flow simply travels through the vibration that you've helped create, and it's beautiful. The soul just will guide you, and it's very beautiful. Thank you, Brother T. That was
I do want to
incredible.
say that to be in the flow spiritually is to let go of the steering wheel so that you aren't doing anything. You are in the back seat. The ego self construct that you believe you are, which is not what you are, not who you are at all. The personality self is not your real self. It's not the self that's incarnating. It's not the self that's reincarnating. It's not a self other than what we have made up to as a temporary operating system to get us through the first couple of decades, if you will, or more, in this experience called humanity and called form. If we're going to be in the flow spiritually, it's when we get in the back seat and we allow our soul to be our guide. It's like you have a direct hotline, you know, the red phone on the desk. You pick it up and you go, okay, something happens. You go, I'm going to give that to you. How should I see that? In other words, you're not making any decisions or judgments about anything that's going on. The you that you've believed you are becomes like the sleeping self at night. You begin to wake up from that self and realize it's not really who you are.
It reminds me of a funny story I just have to add when you say, let go of the wheel and get in the back seat. But when I was flight instructing in small airplanes back when I first started out in the mid 1990s, I had some students that were from cultures that were worshipped Allah and stuff like that, and we were coming in this small airplane, and the wind was blowing us around, and it was turbulent, and it was like it was going to be a tough landing. And the student just had maybe 20 hours. He was brand new, and he was getting close to the runway, and we were getting knocked around, and he just threw his hands up. He's like, Allah has it. I'm like, I guess today Allah's given me an assignment because we're going to land this thing. But that just made me laugh, and it just immediately sparked that let go of the wheel. It's like, well, okay. So there'll be hopefully somebody else there to grab that wheel, but the metaphor was beautiful. Let the soul be in the driver's seat. I love that.
Well, that's the thing about form. We're here to play in form, right? And the operating system, our egoic mind, our fearful self, it's reacting to everything. And it's making up its own ideas about what things are and what things mean. But spirit is not of form. Spirit is spirit, right? And it's not moving things around. I mean, if I leave here and something happens to me out wherever I'm at, or I don't come back, my cat, Allah, or Jesus, or God, is not going to step in and feed the cat. It's not going to make it. It's not going to survive. It's going to starve to death. Now, is that cruel or bad? What kind of God would allow that to happen? God is not a form. God is love. It's the energy and the vibration of love. Love would give me the opportunity to make sure that I am responsible for those in my life and care for them enough to make sure that they have what they need to survive comfortably. And if I'm good at that, then all those around me, my animals and my friends and my family, will have what I like to call attachment security. They're not afraid that I'm just going to leave them and never show up again. So even if I'm gone for a while, even if I'm gone overnight, I'll be back. They will never be left alone. And if I'm not able to come back, somebody else will already be in line to make sure that their needs are met. Because that's the way God works. God works through us. Love works through us here in form. And it's up to us. God has already given us the mandate. Go love your brothers and sisters. Love everything because everything is loving you. Everything is of God, and God is love. So everything is loving you, right? Everything. The chair you're sitting in, right? The car you're riding in, right? The food you're eating is loving you. Everything leans towards you in this universe as you traverse through any space on this planet. You are the love. Your soul, which resides in your heart, is love. And there is no creature on this planet, or plant for that matter, that doesn't recognize that vibration and acknowledges it. Now, we may not be conscious of it because we're too busy thinking about what we need to think about. But you and I are dearly loved because we are that expression of love.
I love that. Thank you, Brother T, for showing us your love, showing us your time, your wisdom, and helping us along this path. And for me, in 2025, I want to make an effort to make sure this community, we at True Thought, the second coming, we are in the flow to raise the planet of Christ consciousness and to help more start on the path of awakening. And Brother T, you are here. You are guiding us. I thank you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful to be a part of this process.
Thank you. Well, and Jesus would say, if you will, or I should say, we can say, Melchizedek will say this, and the guides, and Paul Sadek's guides, are teaching us to recognize and to claim that truth and to simply say, behold, we make all things new.
Yeah.
It will be so. God is, God is, God is. Thank you, my brother Jason. Nice to be with you again here on our first episode of 2025.
Welcome 2025. And I will see you all on next week's episode of The Second Coming.